Hey there, hunters, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. Today we're going to be talking about all the new stuff given to us in Title Update 2 for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, at least from a gunner perspective. We won't be doing set updates just yet, as I still need to farm some decorations and build the sets, so that's going to be soonish, but today we're going to be talking about everything that was added and kind of review all that. So let's just get into it. First, let's talk about the new monsters added in Title Update 2. Flaming Espinas is pretty much exactly what I expected it was going to be, and boy do I hate it. Okay, and look, this isn't going to be an I hate everything video, trust me. I just never particularly liked Espinas, and Flaming Espinas is basically the same thing, plus super annoying fireballs. Since they all do like multiple chain explosions after they land now, it just feels kind of tedious for the sake of being tedious. Like, why do all the fireballs have to chain? It's the same attack that it did before, now they just explode 3 times and leave lingering fire and poison clouds. That, and it's got a new super one-hit KO move, but I mean, I know every monster needs a flashy new supernova finisher, but it's just kind of outplayed at this point. It does like a huge wind-up, kind of like Devil Joe doing like his little stompy tippy taps, but like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem to hit often. If you like the Espinas, you're probably gonna like this one just because it's way more aggressive, which is a good change of pace since normal Espinas was just kind of falling over all over the place, and at least you do get a wide open area to fight it in. So, I mean, if you like him, great, it's just not for me. Then we have Violet Mizu, and again, I know I don't like Mizu already, so it's just not a fight I've enjoyed. It's a Leviathan, but I don't actually hate Violet Mizu. It's more enjoyable than Flaming Espinas, at least. For the most part, it is just same old Mizu, but now all its water attacks leave behind fire puddles, and its bubbles are now heat-seeking and they sound like Sonic, which is kind of funny. Violet Mizu also has some new attacks with like the circling firewall and the big bubble that explodes into a bunch of heat-seeking bubbles, and I think it's got some new like backflip tail slam like Zinogre, so it's not like just adding fire to all its original attacks. Even though it does feel like that a lot of the times, it does have its own kind of unique moveset. I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of over variance at this point. Like, it's not a bad monster, it's just not something that gets me excited, again because I also don't really like Mizu, and it just feels like they're making these monsters to be more and more like Frontier, and that's not what I like. And then lastly, we have Risen Chameleos, who, by the way, drops Rise gems. They said Rise. Anyway, Risen Chameleos is interesting because it's sort of like an afflicted monster without getting slowed. Like, it starts out like a normal Chameleos, but he definitely does have some new swanky moves. I just didn't really fight a whole lot of Master Rate Chameleos, so I can't really tell exactly what they are. But he's fast, and he's got some nasty combos now with some stuns and knockdowns. And when he's enraged, he goes into a Risen state, which gives it more speed and unlocks some new moves for it, like a typical aura change for monsters. But this one can be popped and take Chameleos out of Risen state, and then you go back to its regular state. So kind of like Afflicted in that it has that second aura state you need to break, but you don't have to like, focus on body parts and pop those little red bubbles. And this also doesn't get slowed when you break it. So it kind of feels almost like an Arc-Tempered Chameleos because there's no real gimmick to this fight. It's just a really nasty Chameleos and you got to deal with it. So I like it, and I'm curious to see what Risen, Tio, and Kush are going to be like, because those are no doubt going to be the next monsters coming up in Title Update 3. But yeah, I mean, he gets a pass for me, ironically, even though I don't like Chameleos. I think Risen Chameleos is pretty good. Alright, let's get into the gear that was added, starting with the weapons. Sadly for guns and bows, there aren't really any upgrades here. Espinas bow and bow guns are, I mean, I don't know what they were doing with these, to be honest. A light bow gun, rapid fires, sticky ones, poisons, and flaming ammo. And yeah, we don't need any of those. I don't think there's any monster you'd even want to use standard fire ammo on over fire pierce. Maybe Gossarog, but it's probably not going to be any better than Wrath light bowgun. The heavy bowgun I'm a little interested in, but I'm not sure what to do with it. It has a solid clip of spread 3, but it's still like 40 raw under Tetranodons, and it can't walk and reload. But it also has a clip 4 of fire pierce ammo, with a level 3 rampage slot so you can get Element Bane. It's got a level 4 decoration slot. So I don't know, maybe it can work as some sort of hybrid spread and fire heavy bowgun, but I don't know what I'm going to use it on, or if it's going to be better than running a spread or just a fire heavy bowgun. So yeah, not sure about it. It looks bad. Maybe I can make it work. Don't know. The bow was so close to being usable. Espinas' bow has like good raw, good fire, good everything, but then they give the charge 4 pierce. So yeah, rip that. Violet Mizu's weapons. Light bowgun, almost good too. The slots are great. 3 level 2 is nothing to scoff at, but unfortunately, it has a level 1 rampage slot, and we can only upgrade that one time, so we can only get 2 and not use Element Bane. And since the only ammo this thing can actually use well is rapid fire, pierce fire, it has to compete with Silverlos, who has more raw, has the slot for Element Bane, and another round in the chamber and can walk and reload. So it's probably not beating that. So dead gun. Heavy bowgun's just garbage. No heavy bowgun should ever be using standard element ammo. It's just bad, and that's all it can really use, so pass on that. The bow, I'm kind of interested in. I know the element is super low compared to like silver lows for rapid fire bows, but it has the 3 level 2 slots, which is crazy, and it also doesn't require mighty bow, so building for this is going to be much better. It's also probably more of a side grade than anything, but it's at least decent enough to give it a try. And Chameleos does not have new weapons, sadly, so let's move on to the armors that were added. Flaming Espinas armor is actually good. The slots are great. It has attack, spare shot, charge master, and burst, which was chain crit before, but just got renamed this patch, and intrepid heart, which is new. Intrepid heart builds a small gauge over the HP bar as you hit, and when it's full, it will absorb a hit to you and take reduced damage and prevent any of the knockback. So it's kind of like a one-time use rock steady mantle. They have to keep recharging. During hunts, I've managed to use this 2, 3, 4 times, so the bar fills decently fast. Level 2 of this skill also provides an explosion when you get hit, but it only does 300 damage and it doesn't seem to scale, so yeah, it's nothing really to build around. But 1 point is still pretty good. My only complaint about this skill is that roars will eat it and kind of just waste it, even if you like iframe or counter through roars, so that's kind of lame, but otherwise it's a great skill and it saved my ass multiple times already on afflicted monsters, because when they hit, I take like half damage, so that's great. Violet Mizu set, kind of a mixed bag. It's got a lot of good individual pieces, but the set as a whole seems all over the place. Like 2 points of adrenaline, it's got evade extender, Wex, stam surge, agitator, flinch free, and offensive guard. Like, what is going on here? Embolden is the new skill added, which is on 3 of the pieces, which is a bit lame. But again, it's another potentially really good skill. While a monster is targeting you, which is almost all the time when you're solo, they enrage quicker, and when it's enraged, you get extra defense, better blocks, and a bunch of iframes, so it's like another defensive agitator, kind of like Defiance. I don't know if the iframes stack with the evade window skill, but I don't think they would, or they'd probably pair that with this set, but we're gonna have to probably check data mine information to confirm that that's the case. Some of the pieces are really good on this set, like the chest having Wex 1, Stam Surge 2, and a 3-2-1 slot. That's great for bows. Or the pants giving Agitator 3, Adrenaline Rush 1, and a 2-2-1 slot. Again, great for bows, great for greatsword as well. Like, just being able to pair that with Lucent Gloves is a really good setup, because then you get all 3 of your Agitator and you have much more flexibility on your slots. The boots are apparently god tier for some melee builds, but I don't know about that. It's Wex 2, Offensive Guard 2, Flinch Free 3, and a level 4 slot. Seems good for Charge Blade. All around though, it's a good set. It's got a lot of good pieces, but we're probably just not going to see more than 1 piece used on anything, because like trying to fit like all 3 for Embolden seems like not worth it, but the pieces themselves are just solid across the board. Lastly, we do have Chameleos, which did get new armor, but not new weapons for some reason. His armor is nothing too special, to be honest, besides the headpiece giving peak performance 3, which is super nice, but he has a new skill which I feel like has a lot of potential, which is build up boost. So what this does is that anytime you hit with a status, besides KO, you get a buff for 5 seconds that increases your total attack power by 10 to 20%. Now think about that, 20% is a huge amount of attack, and all you have to do is hit a monster once every 5 seconds with a status to keep it up. I know melee has like, a 30% chance to afflict a status on hit, so that's gonna be kind of inconsistent. For gunners, I actually don't see us using it too often, because we're gonna have to swap emos, and having to reload status ammo is gonna cost us too much time, and in general, it's just not gonna be worth using. For bows though, I mean, we do have blast bows innately, and all you have to do is inflict status to keep this thing up, so that should be super easy for bows. So something like a good old Tio bow will basically get 20% attack all the time. That is, of course, if you're using all 3 pieces. 1 piece may be good enough to justify it, as using 3 pieces of a set really do hinder the rest of your build. For melee though, paired with something like Foray and Status Trigger, which conveniently is not on the same pieces as build-up boost, you could run an evasive build with Status Trigger 3, build-up boost 3, and Foray, and get some nasty builds going. It's going to take a while to test the Chameleos skill to see if its damage makes up for the loss of other skills by, having to use its armor pieces, but this is one of those skills that really catches my eye and actually lets us build differently. Like, we can get a lot of raw damage out of scaling status, which is one of the things that we really couldn't do before. So even though it's not really good for gunners, I still love to see skills like this. It does give me hope. Alright, moving on to weapon augments. All the bowguns now, we're going to be running raw augment 3. Like, it's 15 raw, it's better than 5 raw and 5 affinity. Some bowguns will still want to upgrade their rampage decos from 1 to 2 and then do raw 1 instead, but that's it. There's no reason to do anything else, and I'm still sad we don't get elemental augments or recoil and reload augments for our bowguns. For bow, yeah, we get more element. Now element 4 and 5 do 12 and 15 extra element, which is bonkers. I'm not sure if element 4 and raw 1 is better than just doing element 5. You're comparing effectively just 3 element to 5 raw. It's probably going to be a wash one way or the other, so your choice. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but yeah, element bows is insane now. Bow power creep is real. Lastly, we do have some new decorations. A lot of them, actually. Element has level 4 decorations now, so we have elemental decos of every slot size and still don't have a recoil or reload plus decoration, thanks. These are obtained by doing the level 100 plus anomalies of basically every monster type, so you need like scales, hides, bloods, bones of all the monsters. I'm still grinding these ones out. Handicraft Plus is also a new level 4 decoration, which I thought was in the last update, but I guess not. Gunner's Rejoice, we finally have shot type level 4 decorations, so 2 ranks of Spread Up, Pierce Up, and Normal Up are now available. So we do finally have use for level 4 decorations. Chameleos Blessing is a decoration now, which means that we're going to get Tio and Kush Blessings next update, so that's going to be sick for elemental builds. Looking forward to that. Coalescence also has a level 4 decoration, which is nice. It's a good skill, and more level 4 is always good to see. Chain Crit is a level 2 decoration, which again is great, as that means we don't have to fish for it on augments anymore. And it's also funny that they renamed Chain Crit to Burst, but the decoration is still called Chain. Max Might also has a level 4 decoration, which is cool, I guess. I'm not sure how many people use Max Might, but it's still cool. But that also makes me think that basically all the level 2s are going to get a level 4 decoration by the end of this game, so our builds are just going to have some mad power creep. 4A, also a new decoration, added just in time for those status builds. And we also have status level 4 decorations now. Sleep, Para, and Blast were level 2 slots before, so getting a double on these is pretty nice. Again, especially since we got all that status stuff this patch, it seems like a good time to make those status builds. But yeah, that's basically everything they added in Title Update 2. Lots of new stuff to play with, fun new monsters, tons more anomaly stuff to grind, and more power creep across the board. I'm going to update my sets later, but that's basically all I can do for now. Thank you all for watching, and good luck out there, hunters.